How do we break this cycle? That's the question that everybody wants to know. And the answer is, you break a cycle by breaking it. There is no other way. And so, number one, you become aware that you're in this loop. Number two, you make a decision. You make a decision to break out of it by choosing a new way of thinking. Choosing a new way of thinking. Bottom line. And some people say, well, how do I know what beliefs I have, what things I have within me that need changing? Again, this is where the law of correspondence comes in. Look at any area of your life, any area at all, and look at the results you're producing in that area. If you're not producing the success that you want in business, then you must have thoughts that are not successful thoughts. I won't say failure thoughts, but they could be mediocrity thoughts, they could be victim thoughts. In fact, for most people, they're victim thoughts. They are not being in control of my own life type thoughts. If you read the formula, the ultimate success formula, you will see that step number one in that formula is you got to own your own life. That means you have to take responsibility for your own life and everything in it. That was very hard for me in the beginning. Very, very hard. It was very hard for me. It's still hard for me. I mean, who's kidding who? It's still hard. But every time that I bring something into my life that I don't want, I have to stop and go, what am I thinking? What am I doing that is creating that? What am I thinking? What am I doing that is creating that? And what I'm doing, sometimes I say doing because always the doing is a follow-up of the thinking, right? So, but in the beginning, let me give you something to make it a lot easier. No matter what happens in your life, you have the ability to respond to what happened. You have the ability to respond in a positive fashion to what happened. So before you get to this point of I own my life and everything in my life I created, can we at least say we're 100% responsible for our lives and our results? And all that means is that if you don't like the result you're getting, you have the ability to respond differently. You have the ability to change your thinking. You have the ability to change your actions. You have the ability to do it different. That's what responsibility means. Ability to respond, right? So if we take responsibility for our own life and we say, I'm going to respond positively to everything that happens, all of a sudden our life takes on a whole different direction. And so that's one thing you're doing right here. You're taking responsibility, saying, you know what? I don't like the cycle I'm on. I'm going to change it. Number two that you have to do is you've got to define clearly and succinctly what you want. And I might as well just go ahead and show you the formula here real quick, because there's a science to its application. So number one, own your own life, 100% responsibility, okay? Number two, you have to define your dreams. You have to define what it is exactly that you want. And here's where a lot of people fail. Here's where a lot of people fall short. And while we don't have the time on this program to do this exercise, because the exercise takes about 2 hours to do live, sometimes 3, because I walk people through this process in my live events, even in my Mastering the Ultimate Success Formula video training program, I walk you through the process. But you got to give people time to write and think and contemplate. And so, but this is so key. It's so important. And this part is one part where most people miss. They're not clear. They're not clear. And clarity is power. If you're not clear on what you want in your life, you can't even be clear about what beliefs you need to have in order to create the life of your dreams. You've got to have a life of your dreams in order to create one. Bottom line. If not, you're just going to keep getting more of what you have right now. And if you're happy with what you have right now, then that's fine. But if you want a different life, you've got to decide what that different life is and what it looks like. So I'm going to give you a little piece of homework for you to do on your own time to help you define clearly what it is that you want in your life. Because this is going to be the crux of everything you do. This is going to be what you gauge what your belief system needs to be. And some people, I know that rubs some people the wrong way. I am who I am. Well, you know what? Then you're going to keep getting what you got, right? If you're not happy with the results that you're having, stop saying I am who I am. Because you are who you are, because you've been programmed to be that. I mean, don't give yourself that much credit. I know I piss some people off when I say that, but you know what? The reality of it is you are a conglomeration of your beliefs. Who you are right now is a conglomeration of your beliefs. And most of those beliefs you didn't pick. They were ingrained in you when you were very little, when you didn't have the right to choose your own thinking. Before you started being in control of your mind, when you were living mainly subjectively, those beliefs got ingrained. Because, I might as well go ahead and tell you this here. There's several facets of our minds, and in the book I go into it in detail. But the two that usually conflict with each other is the conscious and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind can process about 40 bits of information per second. That's 40 pieces of information per second. The subconscious mind can process 20 million bits or pieces of information per second. So it's infinitely more powerful than the conscious mind. But the conscious mind can reason inductively, which means it can take a look at a series of facts, information. It can register, it can compare, it can rationalize, and it can come to a conclusion as to what's true. The subconscious mind only reasons deductively. So it just reasons from if this, then that. So if the conscious mind is given the subconscious mind something that says this is the truth, the subconscious mind will continue to act upon that on and on and on and on forever and ever and ever and ever until it gets new instructions. Here's the problem. For most of us, and let me flip back to that famous little drawing. You know when this was created? For the most part, or the foundation of this was created from 0 to 6 years of age. From 0 to 6 years of age, you had not really developed this, which some call the critical factor. And so you did not develop these, I mean, you had filters, but part of this filter is called the critical factor, which is what lets information in or not let information in consciously. And so from 0 to 6 years of age, because you were a little learning machine, all information went in unfiltered. Right? That's why you got to be careful what you let your kids watch on TV and all this kind of stuff. Information goes in unfiltered. They live mainly subjectively, which means that they live in alpha and theta brainwave states primarily. Alpha is the brainwave state right before you go to sleep. Theta is the dreaming state. And so if they're living primarily in those brainwave states, that means they're absorbing information. When you do hypnosis or self-hypnosis, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in an alpha or theta brainwave state and giving your mind, your brain instructions, right? And that's why hypnosis is so effective at changing habits, changing behaviors, etc. Because that state is the learning state. That's the learning state. So between 0 and 6, you couldn't choose. Between 0 and 6, you were at the mercy of your parents and all these other authority figures. So they told you what reality was. They told you what truth was, what falseness was. They told you what good was, what bad was. They taught you what reality is. So in essence, and I say this with all respect, they infected you with their programs. They infected you with their virus, with their beliefs, with their doubts, with their fears, with their limitations. You got them. Later in life, if you didn't like them, you might have rebelled against it. That's why teenagers are so rebellious, by the way. They rebel against those beliefs. The problem is they've got them so ingrained, they wind up acting and being like their parents, right? Because nobody teaches this process like this logically. I mean, very, very few people teach this, understand this, and teach this process logically to people so that you can understand it. And so this programming took place from 0 to 6, and you haven't learned how to give the subconscious a new set of instruction. Remember, the subconscious mind is the builder of the body. The subconscious mind is the one, right now, you're breathing. Are you sitting there telling your lungs to breathe? Lungs, breathe, breathe, breathe. Your heart's beating. Are you sitting there going, heart, beat, beat, beat? Your blood is circulating. Are you going, blood, circulate, circulate, circulate? No. There's all kinds of processes going on in your body, and you're not even aware that they're going on. I mean, when you consciously go, oh, that's right, my heart is beating, my lungs. Yeah, you'd be dead if not, right? But who's doing that? You're not. Your subconscious mind is. Have you ever gotten in your car at home, driving to work or wherever, and you were deep in thought, you were contemplating whether it's an opportunity, a problem, whatever, and you just, all of a sudden, you arrived at your destination half an hour later, and you just kind of woke up and said, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Right? Who drove? It was your subconscious. I mean, there's really, when big question for a lot of people, this whole self-sabotage thing. I want to get myself to do this, but I can't. The answer to a lot of those questions that we asked before, and I held off on saying this because I was going to get to this right now, and that is this. Essentially, it's called self-sabotage. In psychology, it's called psychological reversal. And what that means is that consciously you want one thing, subconsciously, and it isn't that subconsciously you want something else, because the subconscious doesn't want. The subconscious just does. It's already got a set of instructions. The keeping you alive part came from the Creator. You had nothing to do with that. That's part of the self-learning, self-regulating, self-evolving hardware that we came equipped with. Okay? God put that in there, and thank God, because if not, we would definitely screw it up. So that part is automatic. Now, here's the part that we got to learn how to deal with. Here's the part we got to learn how to change or modify it. From 0 to 6, we got all these things put in here, which told us right, wrong, good, bad, right? How the world works, this is how it is. I mean, you know, a lot of guilt was imbued in there as well, right? So all of that stuff is in there. And your subconscious mind, which is a 6-year-old child in essence, I mean, if you think about it, your subconscious mind is supposed to keep you alive. Its number one job is self-preservation. Number one job, keep you alive. So if it's got all these beliefs about good and evil, right and wrong, your worthiness, your ability to do this, are you good enough, are you not good enough, are you smart enough, are you not smart, all of these things, it's trying to protect you. So you say, I want to be a millionaire. I saw this business opportunity and these people showed me this thing, and wow, I mean, I can become a millionaire, wow. And your subconscious, who when you were little kept hearing over and over and over, money's the root of all evil. All rich people are evil. Rich people are going to hell. Their kids are on drugs. If you have a lot of money, your friends will just use you for your money. They won't love you anymore. Oh, yeah, look at so-and-so who made all those millions and then cheated on his wife and left his wife and kids and blah, 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 blah. Ladies and gentlemen, all that stuff's in there. It was all recorded. Your subconscious heard it. And so today, your paradigm, your model of life, which is what paradigm means, your model of life, your map of life today is that having money will cause you hurt, will cause you harm, will cause you problems. Therefore, as you try to get ahead, your subconscious mind says, no, 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 I have to protect us. We need to survive. We need to live. We need self-preservation. And if I let you do that, that's going to be hurtful to us. And so it sabotages or it reverses you psychologically. Simple as that. Simple as that. So, what's the solution to that dilemma? The solution to that dilemma is to discover what beliefs we have, what type of thoughts we have on a recurring basis that are in conflict with what we currently want. That's the key. We must become aware. And again, that's where the law of correspondence becomes a very big help to us. All we got to do is look at the result that we're producing in an area of our life and then say, I'm producing lack. So I must have lack thinking somewhere. So what, and you just brainstorm it, write on a piece of paper all the thoughts that come into your mind, either beliefs that you know you have, right? Or things you heard your parents say while you were growing up, or things you heard your teachers or your pastors or rabbis, things that you heard over and over and over. Write all that stuff down and then take a gut check. How does that make you feel thinking those things? If it doesn't make you feel good, if it makes you feel queasy, even though you may believe they're true, right? Those are beliefs that you have that need to be changed. So, got that part? 0 to 6, critically important. So, the importance then of defining your dreams is that with the definition of those dreams, you have a roadmap for where you want to take your life. And by the way, I was going to give you this as a piece of homework. There's one question, in order to really get clear on this, if you will answer this question, you will be way, way, way ahead of 99.9% of the people. And that question is this. I learned this from Dan Sullivan, one of my mentors, who I pay $20,000 a year to mentor me. This question is this. If we were having this conversation, and I'm saying this to you, if you and I were having this conversation 3 years from now, and you were looking back over those 3 years, what had to have happened during those 3 years in order for you to feel happy and satisfied with the results that you produced in both your personal life as well as your financial and business life? Let me repeat that question. If you and I were having this conversation 3 years from now, and you were looking back over those 3 years at what happened, what would have to have happened for you to feel happy and satisfied with your results in your personal life, in your business and financial life? Get clear on the answer to that question. Draw your life out. Create what your ideal life would be in 3 years, right? And then look back at everything that had to have happened in those 3 years for you to be happy and satisfied. And you will be way down the road to defining your dreams. Make a commitment. Do that exercise. Do that exercise. Number 3, you've got to turn dreams from wishes and wants into intentions. My friend and old-time mentor, Dennis Waitley, always used to say, in life, you never, ever, ever, ever get what you want. You'll never, ever, ever, ever get what you want. You'll only get what you expect. Remember that. In life, you'll never get what you want. Ever. Because want implies lack. Want is a belief in not having. Wanting is lacking. So, in life, you'll never get what you want. You only get what you expect. So, how do you, if you've got these dreams, these ambitions, these goals, how do you turn that into expectation? The key is through commitment, which is step 3 in the ultimate success formula. People don't understand this. They don't understand why is commitment so important. Commitment is so important because it turns, this is a psychological mental law. Commitment turns wanting into intending, wishing into expectancy. And if you don't expect, in other words, if you don't believe that you're going to get it, you're not going to get it. Now, here people go, well, how do I get that, right? And it boils down to this. It's not enough to have a dream or a goal. You got to know why you want it, right? Why is infinitely more important than what. So if you want to be a millionaire, for example, which was my hot button at the time that I started learning these things, and the reason I started learning these things, why do you want to be a millionaire? What will it get for you? What will it get for your spouse? What will it get for your kids? What will it get for your loved ones? What place will it put you in this world? Will it get you some recognition that you want? Is it part of a legacy that you want to leave behind? Will it give you the ability to contribute, to give to your church, to give to your favorite charity, to create a foundation? Will it put you in the house of your dreams, that 8,000 square foot house on 2 acres on a lake, or, you know, on the intercoastal, or on the ocean? Or what will it do for you? What will it do for you? Will it get you those trips and vacations that you want to take your spouse and your kids on? Or just your spouse? I mean, wherever you are, whatever you are, don't feel guilty about anything. Just what will getting these dreams and goals get for you and your loved ones? List all the benefits. List all the benefits. For me, when I finally got committed, which for me, you know, the change in the 3.5 years to the 2.5, from the 3.5 in which I was frustrated and not getting the results I wanted, and in the 2.5, which I became a millionaire, the difference was, the change was commitment. That was a change. Went to a seminar, met a young guy who said, 2.5 years ago, I was on the verge of bankruptcy. I really, really wanted to be successful. I came to one of these events. I saw these guys that were super wealthy, super rich. I didn't think I was as sharp as they were, but I knew I could outwork anybody. And that's what I did. I just took whatever they said I needed to do and just doubled it. And just by doubling it, I doubled up the effort. I doubled up the results. And in 2.5 years, I was a millionaire. And I looked at that and I'm like, I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. Here I've been waffling for 3.5 years, and the big thing is I haven't gotten committed. Because that's what he said. The reason that I'm on the stage and you're in the audience is you all are not committed. And I sold out to my dream. I made that decision that day that I was going to sell out to my dream. 2.5 years later, actually 28 months later, I was a millionaire. The difference was commitment. What did I do? I went and I wrote all the benefits that I would get from being a millionaire, which included, you know, an 8,000 square foot house on a couple of acres. My daughter's homeschooled so they could travel around the world with me. You know, this car, that car, traveling first class, this lifestyle. In other words, I painted a lifestyle. I painted a picture, created a movie of the life I wanted to have. That gave me such an intense and burning desire for it. And I played that movie over and over, by the way, which, you know, repetition's the mother of skill. Your subconscious mind loves repetition. Remember, your subconscious mind is a 6-year-old child, or younger at some phases. It loves repetition. So the more that you give it repetition, especially while you're meditating or you're praying or you're, you know, doing self-hypnosis, whatever you do, and I'm going to encourage you to do something, but whenever you're contemplating, whenever you're in your quiet time thinking about things, I encourage you to have this ideal life thing, okay, story, I call it, ideal life story, and to play this movie over and over and over in your mind. The more you play it, the more real it becomes, the more committed that you'll become. Then number 4, and this is the step that we're at right now, is this. What are your blocks? In other words, what's been blocking you up to this point, or what is blocking you right now from having this that you want, this that you desire, this that you have chosen? Because once you've turned it into a commitment, you've chosen, and you've turned it from a wish, desire, to an expectation, to an intention, right? You could say it that way. In life, you don't get what you want, you only get what you intend. So, what's blocking you? And this that's blocking you is where these beliefs pop in. Beliefs, and then deeper than beliefs, as I'm going to have Ceci share with you in a little bit, some further stuff that we've worked on. But, so what's blocking you? Okay? And then once you determine what's blocking you, because we don't stop there, we don't let blocks stop us, right? Then we clear those blocks and align with our dreams, with our commitment. So we clear and align. That's a process we continually do, clear and align. Don't let anything block us, and we constantly keep refocusing and realigning with our vision, with our dreams, in order to make them happen. Then once you've done that, you move on to creating a plan of action. Number 7, learning how to take massive inspired action. And number 8, a very powerful principle, which is really the key to the fastest achievement possible, and that is what I call the be it principle. And that is assume the identity, assume the thinking, assume the actions of the person who already is, has, and does what you want. And there's a process for doing that. So let's talk about these two, and I kind of like to talk about those two kind of all in one, because I'm not a believer in negativity and, you know, people are weak because of this and that. No. People have what they have, and they are where they are because they don't understand the way their mind works. And they have these blocks, and if they just clear them, remove them, and align and move forward, everything changes. So let's look at this for a second, and let's understand what a belief is. I know I already said that a belief is a sense of certainty about the validity or certainty or truthfulness of something. But let's look at it like this. A belief is like a table. The tabletop of the belief is just an idea. I'm not good enough. That's an idea. Is it true or is it false? I don't know. Could be true. Could be false. Is it true in every context in your life? Because, see, I'm not good at fixing things. I'm not good at mechanical things. I'm not good at, actually, I don't want to be good. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. But I'm not good at a lot of things. But I don't need to be good at a lot of things. I need to be good at the things that I choose to be good at, right? And so the I'm not good enough stems from way, way, way long ago. And I mean, I won't even go into the whole thing that kids are educated in environments and things that are not conducive to learning. Some kids learn better visually, some learn better auditorily, some learn better kinesthetically. If their whole body and stuff isn't involved, they don't learn. And that doesn't make them stupid. It just makes them learn it in different ways. And our whole school system is pretty much a linear learning system. And if you're not a linear learner, you're screwed. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And so you were told maybe you're not good enough, or you're not smart, or you're dumb. Just because you are not a linear learner. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, please. That's crazy. But that's what we've done to our kids. And so the kid grows up with this belief that they're not good enough, right? And are they good enough? Well, we've seen some of these people come out that weren't, well, so many. I mean, the joke in business is that the C students own the company, the B students are their top level management, and the A students are, you know, the managers that work underneath them. I mean, that's what we've seen throughout business. I mean, because the doers were not necessarily those who really wanted to sit in class and watch all this stuff. So a belief is nothing more than an idea. And by the way, the idea is the tabletop. The I'm not good enough, or money's the root of all evil, or rich people are, you know, bad. Any of this stuff, in reality, is just an idea. It's not necessarily true. What makes it true, what makes it a belief to you, okay, are the legs that hold the table up. These are the references that hold the table up. So these references are, well, Mom told me that, or my uncle told me that. Well, let's say Mom and Dad. Let's not blame Mom. Uncle told me that. My coach told me that. My teacher told me that. Here's a good one. I saw a movie or several movies that showed me that, right? I read an article on the internet, and of course, if the internet says something, it's got to be true, right? This is, this is the world we live in today, ladies and gentlemen. So what makes that idea a belief is not the idea itself. It's the references underneath it that give you the sense of certainty that something is true. That's it. If you were to remove these references underneath this tabletop, and that idea would go back, that belief would go back to being just simply an idea, right? Because it's, let me be more graphic, it only turns into an idea when you have all those references underneath. Remove the idea, remove the references, and the belief goes back to being an idea. So how do you do that? How does that work? Well, there's various different ways, but I want to give you something to really sink your teeth into. Could I have a copy of my book, please? I had one in the room marked with the page and everything, but I left it there. Thank you very much. So, The Ultimate Success Formula. Little plug here for my commercial. And let's see here. On page number 122, because there's a lot of questions. So how do you take away these references? Well, you ask yourself several important questions. Number one, where did I learn this belief? Where did I learn this belief? Right? Is this belief really true? Is it really true that you're not good enough? Is this belief true in every context? Is this true? You're not good enough. Well, you may be good at doing something that your parents told you was a waste of time. My parents wanted me to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a lawyer, right? I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to do something else that was more fun. I wound up doing this, and I love this. I have a passion for teaching, but I didn't want to be a teacher in school because I know they didn't get paid, right? I had a fear of public speaking, which I overcame. Bad fear of public speaking, which I overcame using some of these technologies that I'm going to share with you here. And so, at the end of the day, you are in control. You can change your life by changing your beliefs. Another question that you ask yourself is this belief serving me? Is it helping me to be, do, or have what I desire in life? Is this belief serving my loved ones and helping them have a better life? Is this belief serving mankind? What is ridiculous, absurd, or funny about this belief? And there's always something ridiculous, absurd, or funny about any limiting belief. Because the mere fact that it's not true in every context, and it's not really true, and the person who taught it to me, do they have the results in their life I desire in mine, in that area? And what will it cost me financially, physically, emotionally, in my relationships with my loved ones if I don't change this belief? Think about this. These are huge, huge, huge questions. And those are the questions that you use to eliminate those things. I'll give you an example of one that I had in my life, which is very, very common in my working with people throughout. I have found this to be a very common belief. You have to kill yourself working, struggle, and sacrifice to be successful or to be wealthy, whatever. It's used almost interchangeably. So you have to kill yourself or work really, really, really hard, whichever way you want to put it. But this is a very common belief that a lot of people have. I had it. Where did I get it? Well, my mom and dad told me that. All kinds of relatives I heard tell me that. My coaches, sports coaches, told me that. The pastor, priest, told me that. Teachers told me that. And we could just keep going on and on and on here where I heard that because, the world says that. Movies said that, right? I mean, you can go on and on and on with this. So, I had this belief. Then, I started working on these belief-busting techniques. I call this one the tabletop belief changer. And so, you ask yourself, is this really true? So, is this really true? Let me ask you all a question. How many of you all are working really hard, struggling, and sacrificing to be successful? Anybody working really hard? Are you a millionaire yet? Well, that one can't be true. Are you struggling? Millionaire? That can't be true either. Are you sacrificing? See, I'd done all of these things, and I wasn't successful. I mean, to a lot of people, $35,000 a year, your own little insurance agency, and that would have been successful. But that wasn't the successful that I wanted, right? So I tried all this, did all this, and didn't have what I wanted, right? So what's ridiculous or absurd about this belief? Well, ridiculous and absurd about this belief is that all kinds of people think and believe this. My parents thought and believed that. They taught it to me, but they did it, and they weren't successful. I mean, again, relative. When I say successful, I mean big-time successful. I mean a super successful business and a millionaire. I mean, that's my definition of it. You may have a different definition of it. They were successful in raising kids. They were successful in teaching us integrity and honesty and a lot of great values. Yes, they were successful in parenting. They were successful in those things. But I'm talking here, I'm looking at success in business. Success, that's what I'm looking at in this context right here. So, is this true in every context? Well, it's not going to get you success in business. Is there an element of having to work hard and all this kind of stuff? Yeah, but you're going to see where I'm going here in a second. So, did the people I learned this from, did the people that I learned this belief from, have the results that I wanted in my life? Did my mom and dad have them? In success, in wealth? No, they did not. Okay? Did the relatives no, they were in the same place, same boat my mom and dad were. The coaches? No, they didn't. I wasn't working, I wasn't playing in the NFL or in the NBA or something like that, working with coaches that are making multi-million dollars. I'm talking about junior high and high school coaches making $25,000 a year. Did the pastors and priests have what I want? Nope. Did the teachers have what I want? Nope. How about the movies? Well, let me ask you this question. Are there more rich people in the world or broke people in the world? More broke people, right? Okay. So if you're going to make a movie and you want to make a lot of money on your movie, are you going to play to the rich people, which there's just a few of them, or are you going to play to the masses, in which there's a lot of them? The masses, right? So movies are made to tug at the mindset, play with the heartstrings of the masses, right? And so they will say that you have to kill yourself, struggle, sacrifice to be successful. They will also tell you that rich people are crooked, they're evil, they take advantage of the poor, they got rich by screwing the poor people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you know what? I'm not going to pay attention to what the movies say, for sure. For sure. So, what have I done here? I've successfully removed every single reference to this, including the fact that this is a ridiculous statement because I've done it myself and it hasn't worked. It's ludicrous and funny because the whole world is doing this and they're all broke, okay? So I've just convinced myself that this is not a belief. This is just a stupid idea, right? So now here's the deal. When you're destroying a belief, you can't just stop there because the universe abhors a vacuum. That means hates a vacuum. So when you remove something, there's a hole there. And if this was a negative belief, what will typically flow into it is something with the same energy that what you took out. So you've got to take this and you've got to flip it. You've got to look at the positive opposite. And so I start going and looking at this and going, well, wait a second. Who do I know that's really, really, really successful? okay? And I look at some of my mentors, right? And I also look at some really successful people out there. And by this point, Tony Robbins was somebody I really respected and somebody that I really thought had a good way of thinking, a precise way of thinking. And so I get rid of this and I look around and I say, what do I change this to? And I saw that the really, really successful people, to be successful, really, truly successful and wealthy, you have to do what you love with excellence and passion. And I start looking around. I mean, this is something Tony says. And I start looking around and go, oh, wait a second. Who else says that? Well, Steve Jobs said that. Commencement speech at Stanford University, Jobs says that. TED Talks, him and Bill Gates say that. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Does she love what she does? Absolutely. Look at Donna Karan. Does she love what she does? Absolutely. Look at J.K. Rowling. Does she love what she does? Absolutely. And you could go on and on and on and on. Listen, I don't agree with his dog-eat-dog philosophy, but Donald Trump, okay? I mean, loves what he does. If you look at the truly successful people, I mean, what's his name? Richard Branson. Goodness gracious. Talk about somebody who loves what he does. You look at anybody out there that is really mega successful, and they love what they do. In fact, Steve Jobs said that it is impossible to attain high levels of success without you loving what you do, because you will not sustain the intensity required to bring about massive major achievement. Think about it. Steve Jobs said that. The guy who brought back from the dead a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy and turned it into the most valuable company in the world, which many are saying will be the first $1 trillion company in history. And that's what he said. If you don't love what you do, you cannot sustain the intensity required for major achievement. So I have successfully wiped out this Mickey Mouse belief, replaced it with one that aside from the fact that it resonates me, it makes me feel good. It gives me permission to do what I love. Do you think, does it look to you like I love doing this? Do you think I'm faking it? Do you think I'm like, no. I love doing this. I am passionate about doing this. As a matter of fact, I was going to do this a little different than I'm doing it right now. And this morning when I woke up early in the morning, it was like some divine something was saying, no, not like that, like this. I love this. I live for this. I enjoy this to a degree that you can't imagine. In fact, I have a clock over here in front of me because I lose track of time when I do this. And so I could just be talking for 5 or 6 hours. I mean, maybe take a bathroom break, and then they'd tell me how long I've been talking. But I love this. I could do this every day for hours and hours and hours per day and not get tired. I love this. And I do it with excellence and passion. And that's what creates success, ladies and gentlemen. So this right here is an incredible way to change any belief that you have. You just have to ask yourself the questions. And I tell people, just draw it out. Draw out a table. Draw out the legs. Draw out the references. Then determine what you have to change it to. And always remember the positive opposite. And the positive opposite is always this. What's the opposite that's positive, right, of what you have here? You may have, money is the root of all evil, right? And, you look at that and who told you all that? And you've got to remove the references. Is this true? Is anything being done with money that's not evil? Well, I mean, if you look around the world today, how many humanitarian causes? How many churches are feeding the hungry, clothing the needy? How many people are building homes and shelters for the underprivileged? I mean, how many things are going on in this world that require money, and are just transforming the world and transforming the consciousness of mankind? Not everybody is doing bad things with money. So, money is neutral. It's what you do with it that's good or bad. Good people do good things with money. Bad people do bad things with money. Money is just a vehicle. Now, if you consider yourself good, right? And I would think that most of you do. If you consider yourself a good person, then don't you think it's your civic duty, your humanitarian duty, to have money and make money? Don't you think? Because, I mean, just think about this. If money's bad and God made money, He made money for the bad people? I mean, think about this. If you're good, shouldn't you have money because good people do good things with money and bad people do bad things with money? I mean, in our live seminars, we spend a day on this. I mean, we just go on and on and on, and different people's beliefs and so forth popping up, because it's imperative that you change this stuff, okay? And it's within your power to do so. Totally within your power to do so. So I urge you to learn this, master this, and just really change your life, because you change your beliefs and you will change your life dramatically. And let me show you one other belief buster that is really cool. And this is a very creative one. Language is indicative of the meaning that the culture imbues within the language. And humor is a very cool way to change the meaning that things have. And sometimes it's almost like, you have something recorded in your mind. And that recording, says, money's the root of all evil. Or in my parents' case, it was money doesn't grow on trees. Whenever I asked my father for something and we couldn't afford it, instead of just flat out saying no, he'd say, "Oh, son, money doesn't grow on trees." I hated that. So, that was one of the limiting beliefs that was holding me back. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. And I learned this principle. It's kind of an NLP-ish type of thing, but I call it mind-bending language. And the thing about this is take a belief or something that bothers you, right, and just change the wording around a little bit to give it a positive meaning, and to take the negative energy out of the belief. So it's very simple. Money doesn't grow on trees. You could change that to, while money doesn't grow on trees, it is made from trees. And one tree makes a lot of money. Because it does. I mean, just think about it. How many $100 bills can you make from one tree? Enough for you to retire for a while. For sure. So, while money doesn't grow on trees, it's made from trees, and one tree makes a lot of money. One thing my mother used to say all the time, which really was annoying, was that love is more important than money. And of course she said that because they lost everything when they left Cuba, and she would say, well, love is more important than money because they can come and take everything away from one day to the next. Now, I'm not arguing that love is not more important than money, because love is the most powerful force in the universe. But, and I like this word while, because while takes a lot of negative charge out of a lot of things. So while love is more important than money, comma, no one said I can only have one. So I choose both in large quantities. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling different about the whole thing, right? Especially because it was my mother, you know? My mother is like, you know, I adore my mother. So my mother saying something, I can't go against my mother, right? But while love is more important than money, no one said I can only have one. So I choose to have both of them in large quantities. And you can play, I mean, I played with this mind-bending language. That's what this is called, mind-bending language. I played with this and just made a list of every single belief that I could think of that I had that was limiting me. And then I took those beliefs and I just changed them. I manipulated the content around. And usually something funny, something ridiculous, something that just takes that negative charge out of it. And all of a sudden, you're in a brand new place. So these are some of the strategies that you can utilize in order to just change your whole mindset around, okay? And one of the things that we've done, and all this is in the book, by the way. All of this is in the book, The Ultimate Success Formula. I mean, these are little quickie versions that I've shown you here because I want to make sure that you walk away from here with something and gives you an idea of something that will really take your life to the next level if you choose to really dive into this and just transform your life with this impacting, powerful, principle-based information.